everyone. This is Keith Jowers, founder of Dads for Life. And here we are, 2021. Thank you that 2020 is gone, right? But like I saw somebody post the other day on their social media, says, I've done a 7-day trial of 2021, and I don't like it. Well, you know what? Every year's got issues, doesn't it? Every year we're going to have problems. Every year we're going to be dealing with stuff. And, well, we just have to carry on. And the season that we just came through with COVID and the election and all that mess, don't let it bother you. Just keep on rolling. And that's what I want to talk about today is keep on rolling by leaving a positive legacy. What do you want your life to stand for? Have you ever asked yourself that? Have you ever asked yourself, well, how do I want to be remembered by my friends and family? Some people don't even really care, to be honest with you. I asked a dad one time, we were talking, and he was saying, well, you know what? When it's over, it's over. I'm just gone. I said, whoa, let's talk about that a little bit. What about your children? What do you want them to remember you by? So what will those beyond your circle of friends, the one or beyond your circle of family and friends, what will they remember you for? Those guys you work with, those people you work with, and sometimes we're one person there and we're another person at home. Those are the ones that we're trying to impress sometimes. I'm not making this stuff up. I mean, these comes from conversations with dads and moms who, we have a lot of moms that follow us here at Dads for Life. But, I'm not going to be negative as much as I want to be positive because I want my life to be more positive and I want people to remember me for being positive. Now, sometimes you can be negative. Sometimes you can have a really bad day, like New Year's Eve day when I fell on a group of boards that had rusted nails in them that I had not had time to take out yet. And one of them happened to go through my left palm, and as I continued falling, would rip my hand on down. So it was not a good day, the last day of 2020. So as I'm at the base getting my hand sewed up, I looked at the doctor and I said, Doc, I guess this was my last thing maybe for 2020, but yet it's still 2020. So maybe, just one more thing, right, for 2020. He and the nurse and we all just had a little laugh about that because they had seen a lot of things that day as well in the ER. So what kind of impact do you really want to leave on your family, your friends, your community? Will they talk about you after you're gone? Oh, they may talk about you, right? But what are they going to talk to each other about? Had the chance to attend a funeral the other day I did not want to attend. A young man came up in our youth group at church, and he had a rough start with his siblings, and he were left in a tent. They were very young, and their parents just walked away from them. And as sad as that story may be, going in and out of the foster system was not easy for them either until they came across the chosen mom and dad that God had sent. And they adopted all of them and truly raised them like a family because they had already raised a lot of kids through adoption, but they had raised these kids like a family needed to be raised. And this one young man whose funeral I was at, who was now 36 years old and laying in a casket, just kind of looked at him and thinking about his life. Obviously, that wasn't him laying there, it was his body, but I remember him being so lively and loving and full of life all the time because he found a family, a mom and a dad that really cared about him, that really loved him, that really treated him like he should be treated, like all kids should be treated, loved on, and helping them to dream about their future. This young man grew up and come through our youth group, and my wife and I were interim youth pastors a couple of times, and one of the times that we had some impact on his life and as a youth leader, and we We did what we could with him, but we knew this kid would do something great with his life, and he did. He touched so many people because he was so full of life. Are we full of life? Does our life impact somebody else's? Well, when I look around this huge church I was in, I see all these people that his life impacted. My friend Mark was an impact on others' life. He loved people. My friends, is what I want to talk about, is leaving a legacy that people will remember, but leaving a legacy in love. So I want to give you about 10 things here that I think are important with leaving a legacy. One is just live your legacy. Our children listen to us most intently by watching what we do more than what you tell them. Watching us live. If you say one thing, don't do this, don't do that, and then on the other hand, you do this and do that, your kids are going to see what you did on the other hand. Number 2 is love like your life depended on it, because it does. It truly does. It does, because if you live your life like it depended on it, even when we have nothing else to give, we still have love. And loving our spouse and our children and our family and our friends with commitment and enthusiasm is a legacy all to itself. It's like no other. Engage this life with passion and gratitude. My dear friend Larissa Tranquil, she's on Clubhouse. If you're on Clubhouse, that social media, it's an awesome growing platform that I'm also on. I do Thursday night shows there on Clubhouse. But Larissa has been on social media for a long time. You can find her under Grateful Chick. She talks about being grateful all the time. Not just at Thanksgiving, being thankful for there, but you're being thankful for all your life, everything that you're doing, everything you're involved in. Be grateful. I just love Larissa's work and what she does to help so many people. So you can find her at Grateful Chick. You can also find her Larissa Tranquil. Number 4 is share the family stories with your children. Your children, your grandchildren need to hear stories from you, stories that have meaning to them, because that's a generation that they don't know. And the only way they're going to know that generation is to know you and know coming from you, your stories. I remember a story my grandfather, my brother's older, so he went with my grandfather to buy a new truck. People at the Chevy dealership, the salesman up there all behind his big picture window looking out on the sales floor, sees my grandfather out there in overalls with his hat on, with a toothpick in his mouth, because he was a country man. And he goes to buy a truck. He wants to buy the Chevy truck, but nobody came out to see him. And they were laughing at him, kind of smiling, whatever, smoking their cigarettes. That's when you could smoke inside of a building. And my grandfather says, "Son, come on, we're going across the street." He said, "Well, Granddad, I thought you wanted a Chevy. That's a Ford dealership." He said, "Let's go across the street." And my grandfather went across the street in the same overalls, in the same hat, with a toothpick in his mouth, and he's looking at a red Ford pickup truck. And I wish today that I could have that pickup truck. Don't know where it wound up, but I went in a lot of places in that truck with my grandpa. And the lady's looking out, and the men are looking out, and the men are laughing just like they were across the street at the Chevy dealership. And the young lady walks out. She said, "Hello, sir." So he said, "Well, hello, young lady. How much for this truck?" She says, "Well, sir, it's this much." And he says, "Okay, I want that truck." And she says, Well, sir, how do you want to finance this?" He said, "Let's just go in and talk about it." And then she says, "You said you didn't want to finance this." He says, "No, I don't." And he pulls out all the money out of his overalls and he buys the truck with cash. And then all the guys wanted to help her. And then he told them, "I think she's got it." They were judging a book by its cover. That's what my point is. When I hear the story and I share it with others, I say, don't judge people by their cover. You never know what's going on behind somebody's life. Someone that's standing in the grocery line or something that's not smiling or just looks like they've had a bad day. Just a simple smile or a hello could open up a conversation with them that you could find out what's really going on with them. So number 5 is ground your purpose in a greater purpose. Find out what your purpose is in life. Live each life like a story. Because one day there was a beginning, and one day there will be an ending. And what will people say about all the pages in between? That's leaving a legacy. Whether it's good or bad, you're going to leave something behind. And I'm not talking about just finances, although the Bible says leave an inheritance to your children's children, so your grandchildren are taken care of, right? But I'm talking about leaving more than just money, because one day the money will be gone. So you want to find that purpose. And there's 2 days in your life that I believe are the most important days. And that's the day you are born, because everybody's rejoicing that you're born, and then the day you find out why. So there's a beginning, there's a purpose, and then there's an ending. So find that purpose. Linda Ellis wrote a great poem, and I don't have it in front of me, but called The Dash. The Dash. So share the family stories. Keep and be ground your purpose in a greater purpose, and be honest. Nothing communicates authenticity like honesty. Share your feelings as well as your triumphs. Talk to your kids or maybe your grandkids about times that things didn't go right. Things just didn't go right that day or that time of your life. You've had a lull, a non-purposeful lull in your life. I've been there. And I know that since my mom died in 2012 and then my friend Zig Ziglar died 6 days later, that was a rough week for me. But my grief for my mom was really bad. I'll just tell you like it is. That might be another one down the road we talk about. This year you're going to be seeing a lot of audios and videos from us that are just talking about life. That's when I feel like life is the word that I want to go after this year and try to make my life as well as others more meaningful, more purposeful. So be honest with yourself. Give your family the gift of time. Most children and grandchildren, well, they remember presents, P-R-E-S-E-N-C, more than they remember the presents, P-R-E-S-E-N-T-S. You can't buy legacy with just money by buying a bunch of presents. They really want your presents. I mean, how do you spell love? And he said with T-I-M-E. The more my dad spends time with me, the more I know that he loves me. Our son-in-law, I'm very thankful for my son-in-law. And he spends time with each of his kids, all 3 grandchildren. He spends time with his daughter and his son. Separately, has dad nights with them, and then as a family teaches them how to, they can work together through their problems, but teaches them one-on-one, goes for ice cream or ices or whatever the day may be that they go for. And I'm very thankful for my son-in-law, who is a pastor, actually, he and his wife, our daughter, and they pastor a lot of people, so they're leaving a legacy. They're building their legacy now by reaching and teaching so many other people. Another one on the list is keep a journal. Write down your thoughts. Write down your messages that you're feeling internally, and write down these important things that happen to you in life, because one day you'll want to go back to them and read them again. Another one is live for others. The great legacies of history are people who dedicated their lives to the service of humanity and doing so much for others. The one that really stands out in my mind is Mother Teresa and how she gave so much to the poor children. She never worried about money. She always had enough to make the mission grow, and that's what she did. She put all the money back into the mission. On a smaller scale, but no less important, is our service to those who love, to our family and friends and community. But just living for others is important. It's coined a phrase about 15 years ago now, and you probably can find it out there somewhere if you want to see it, but it's just basically is that if you go through life helping only yourself, you'll go through life alone. There's a lot of lonely people out there because they think about themselves only. And the last one is talk about your vision if you've departed from this life. Wait a minute, Keith, how do I do that? How do I talk about my vision after I've gone? After I've taken my last breath? You share with your kids what kind of lives you would like for them to live, even after you have died. Having those thoughts and memories and things that you did for them and played with them and did all these great things with them, they remember that stuff a lot more than they remember other stuff that they don't want to really remember. Those crucial moments in their life, what would dad do, they might ask. What would mom do? Because we have a lot of single moms follow us here on Dads for Life. So I'm not going to, I never asked for that, but it happened, and we have been able to bless single moms because one of them actually wrote us and said, I pull both roles because dad's not involved. There's close to 15 million children who live in a fatherless home. So it's important, even if you are separated, divorced, whatever the case may be. You have a child, you have a responsibility that you have to do everything you can to take care of that child. What I mean by talking about your vision after you've departed this life, well, it's having those thoughts constantly play in their mind that dad loved me, that mom loved me. And when they ask, what would dad do? What would mom do? That's the most powerful legacy that you could have. So once you know what you want your legacy to be, write it down and start it. Start building it. You don't build a building without a plan. You can start living in the way you want to be remembered today. We also are writing a book this year. I'm writing my 5th book. It's called Honoring Dad, that you can write about your dad. If your dad was very instrumental in your life and helpful, and you are doing some of these things today and remembering him because you remember some of the things he did with you, then you can honor your dad by writing us a 2-page story about his life and how he helped you live the life you're living today. And we're also going to have a section in there that's honoring the dads that have passed. So if your dad has passed and he was very instrumental in helping you be the person that you are today, and we want to hear about that too. We're going to honor those dads in a special way in that book. So we're starting to collect those in the first quarter. The book will be written over the summer and be done by the fall. So if you want to be a part of that, you can reach out to us at dadsforlife@gmail.com. Send us a story. And when we go to publish it, you'll be receiving back a waiver to allow us to publish that story. It's not necessarily the length of our life that determines our legacy, my friends. It is more important the length of the shadow of our influence that defines what legacy we leave behind. That's what was quoted one time by Boyd Bailey, who wrote this in helping you to remember that leaving a legacy is extremely important. But remember, it's not necessarily the length of our life that determines our legacy. It's more the length of the shadow of our influence that defines what legacy we leave behind. If you want to follow us more, you can follow us at dadsforlife.com, or you can go to keithjowers.com, leads you to the same neighborhood on the web. You can find out what we're doing or updating. We're updating our website this first quarter, and we'll unleash a new website very soon. We're doing a lot of things here at Dads for Life in 2021, and we want you to be a part of it. We would love to hear for your stories. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, you can reach out to us, and we'll try to do that. So don't let the elections that we just went through in the U.S., if you are here, we have some international listeners as well. Don't let the elections, don't let COVID, don't let anything stop you from leaving a legacy, because your children would remember that as well. So we want to know that in life, things happen. And we have to take those things that happen and we have to turn them around for something good. So you can go back to our YouTube channel and you can watch this podcast on the web as well. We can let it be posted right here on our website, as you probably have found out already, or through any source that you get your podcast. So continue to follow what we're doing here at Dads for Life, and we appreciate each and every one of you. If you'd like to be a partner, you can go to our Dads for Life partner page and figure out how to do that. As we continue, all money goes back into reaching families. So until next time, this is Keith Jowers, Dads for Life, saying go out and encourage, enhance, and enrich someone's life today. But make sure you start with your children, because they truly do need it the most. May God bless you.
Thanks for listening to the Dad Connection Podcast with Keith Jowers. For more inspiration, motivation, guidance, and encouragement, visit keithjowers.com. And make sure to follow Dads for Life on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.